Rally to the end of the year after the market settled back down again after the election. What about Warren Buffett selling his positions, reducing some heat from Berkshire Hathaway? Is it because of the possibility of capital gains rules changing? I think it's more to do with taking some money off the table. Remember, he can move the markets, drive things down, but the cost of borrowing is going to be reduced. He'll be pressured to buy back in again. Anyway, one of my favorite broadcasters is Tom Lee from Fundstrat. I share a lot of his thoughts, actually. I do believe it makes no difference who wins the election. I do think it's presenting opportunity, volatility, which is great. We all love volatility and opportunity here on the show. I'm all in with margin as well. I'm completely happy. But let's have a quick listen in to what Tom Lee has to say here. And I will sort of stop it at certain points and talk about it. Will we get a rally to the end of the year? Will there be a Santa rally? And how it'll all play out after the earnings. We've got Palantir coming up after this event. But right now, I want to cover this. So here we go. Let's have a quick listen in here. All right.
Following last week's inflation and jobs data, it's an interesting time to get some perspective from our next guest, Tom Lee. It says be prepared for volatility. Tom is managing partner and head of research at Fundstrat Global Advisors, as well as a CNBC contributor. Would you say, towards the last time you were on, you talked about the Trump trade being pretty strong.
Let's just pause at that point. The Trump trade, of course, we're talking about DJT, Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin kind of went up to 72 and back down again. Didn't really do anything. I sold it all at 70. I'm not really that bothered about it. I feel there are much better, safer, more guaranteed opportunities. And remember, it's all about not losing money. I don't ever lose money on trades. And if you focus on not losing money, then you'll always make money. We talked about that in a video this morning. What about the DJT trade? Well, I talked about that as well and said I wouldn't touch it because it's too volatile, makes no sense, has no fundamental value. I only buy businesses that I can own and forget about. It went all the way up and then it's back down again. Now it's going up again. It's merely a roller coaster of gambling. It's not for me, but let's hear what Tom Lee has to say about the Trump trade.
A lot of things turned back, reversed. DJT reversed. Bitcoin didn't move into the mid-70s, got in the low 70s. I don't know whether the banks and other Trump trades changed, and all the betting markets certainly moderated late last week, came back a little bit. Do you have a change in your opinion on the election now?
Well, it does seem like over the last 4 or 5 days, the election really narrowed when you look at betting markets or the polls. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily trust polls, but I think the quality and the adjustments to the polls have made them more accurate. So I think it is really a toss-up, and it's going to be a very close election. And something our clients are preparing for, because we did a survey last week, 76% don't think we'll have a winner declared election night. And 43% roughly expect it 1 week after. So I think markets are kind of bracing for this period of uncertainty. I think that's why many of the trades have reversed.
We've also heard about some of the trading houses.
And that also presents great opportunity if we did get a big drop tomorrow during elections day. That's why we're going to be live all day. I have my finger on the button. I have bought some more S&P, and I have probably somewhere in the region of $5,000 to $10,000 extra to buy more dips on the S&P. Let's see what happens. I certainly will. I mean, I don't just say I'm going to trade. If it drops, I am absolutely 100% going to buy. There is no question about it.
That are not going to be putting any software updates in this week, even some people who want to be here rather than overseas to make sure they're closer on the ground to see what happens too.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a week where there's going to be a lot of worry. One thing I was thinking about over the weekend, though, is I think the market's fear of uncertainty will peak before, it's very likely it peaks before the election outcome's actually decided.
These signals that we've been looking at, one of the things, I don't know if you read about it, and I think we talked about it maybe during a commercial break last week, one of the things that's happened in the polls is the view that there's a lot more women going to vote than before. But that these signals, whether it be Bitcoin or whether it be DJT stock or whether it be the betting markets, may.
I will make a prediction here, and I am watching this the first time with you. Women don't tend to trade Bitcoin, and they don't tend to trade DJT, which concerns me because they own it. They own more so they own Bitcoin than owning DJT. But what it shows me is women are a lot more sensible when it comes to these things. They don't trade Bitcoin, and they don't trade DJT. They don't own DJT either, but they do own Bitcoin. It shows you that women tend to be more long-term investors rather than the emotional scalp trading and the gambling element of DJT. Let's see what they say. And again, I haven't seen this yet, so this is all being watched for the first time.
Also, all be off, if this is true, on the assumption that actually there is a very small percentage of the people in the betting markets who are women, for example. There's a very small percentage of people who are women who actually trade in Bitcoin, not who own Bitcoin, but who trade in Bitcoin. Very small group of women who are trading in DJT stock. What do you think of that?
I think there's some credence to that, just because we know, like when you look at the Iowa polls, it was really the.
I've just seen a comment in the chat. In fact, I can't actually read your name out, unfortunately, or show it on the screen. I can't show your comment because you've used a swear word in your username, so I can't put your comment on the screen. I wanted to, but I can't share it. You just said that's a very sexist remark, Mr. Lucas. Many smart women trade Bitcoin and DJT in very small numbers. That's what I said. Very few trade it. And you just heard from two analysis, including Tom Lee, that I was correct. And as I say, I haven't watched this yet. I'm watching it live with you for the first time, and they've just agreed with me. So it's not a sexist remark; it's a fact. Women do own Bitcoin. Very few own DJT. These are facts. These are known numbers, and very few, less again, trade Bitcoin. They hold it. It's not a sexist comment. It's purely an observation of facts, has just been proved out by world leading analysts here live as I'm showing you. So it's not a matter of being sexist whatsoever. And I would share your comment on the screen. I just can't because you've used a strong word in the title there.
Senior women voters, that changed a lot, and. You're right. These markets can be narrow, and they're very responsive to changes in liquidity. And I think it's a very tight race. I mean, it's going to be very close. I think anyone who thinks that they know who's going to win is really playing with fate, because I think it's a very tight race.
Yeah.
It's interesting from when polls close too, because we've got. I mean, there's a.
I think it's a very important thing as well going into tomorrow, not to be trading or making financial decisions based on the outcome. What I'm investing in, and as you know, I've currently got, and I'll share with you, over $200,000. It won't be long before I have $250,000 invested. There's my main account. There's my Roth IRA. You add the margin, and I've got 123. As you can see there, if you've got 173, including margin, adding my retirement IRA, I'm over $200,000. So, $200,000 isn't nothing. And it's important to note that there's nothing here that has anything to do with the election. Big money, and the bigger the money gets, less gambling you take. I know millionaires and a billionaire, and they don't risk money at all. They make money all the time. They never lose money. Like what I said this morning on my other video, how I traded and beat the market by 6x. I said it's about focusing on not losing money, not making money. Making money is easy. It's knowing how not to lose it is the important thing. So, no one knows the outcome, and trading on the outcome now is Russian roulette.
Couple here, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia are all East Coast. So if you have some definitive answers. They're also, supposedly Virginia and New Hampshire are closer than people in the Harris camp would like. So there could be surprises early on.
Just wonder how long it takes when you have so many more people who have voted early or mail-in votes too. Those take longer to tally. So I mean, you might just by default be
like last time.
Yeah. I actually voted last week, and I actually had to wait.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people. I mean, turnout is really what's going to swing this election.
And then there's a number of states, obviously, that, by the way, get the early votes and then don't begin to tally them afterwards. And for all sorts of reasons that I would raise some real questions about why they're not tallying them.
Kind of a bummer.
I want to jump in at this point, and I'd love someone to tell me, but unfortunately, I don't know why it is, in America, it takes so long. It takes longer than many third world countries to total the votes. In England, it's all done in one day. It's done by about 10 o'clock that evening. I don't understand it. I've no idea how the most powerful country in the world is incapable of adding up the votes in a sensible time. I've no idea why it can go up to a week. No idea why that is. Don't say to me it's because there are 350 million people and there are only 75 million in the UK. That's not an argument at all. There's going to be less counters, there's going to be less polling stations and so on. You have as many polling stations and you have as many counters as you need to service the people that live there. So to say there's less people is silly. It can be done. You just have more polling stations, more counters, and you get the job done. I don't know why it has to be so slow. Then it invites controversy, challenges, people saying what's going on, they're talking about counting now. I wouldn't be surprised if they get into some sort of debate about that. But anyway, let's see what they have to say. It does fuel the argument of conspiracy of what's really going on. There's no reason for this. It doesn't happen in other countries. And in fact, some third world countries in Africa do their polling faster than the United States. And there's even more people. So I don't know what it is, what the reason is for this.
Sometimes it's written into state legislation.
No, I understand that, but there's a view among those who are cynical about that they're not counting them until after,
right.
So that.
And there are we've seen it.
Except for what if
there's other countries that know that know by the end of the day. There's other
was.
countries that know that night, and they've been talking to, we're like a little bit envious looking around.
Yeah, you should be able to count.
Here's the problem. If they were counting them early and it was some secret, because you wouldn't want them releasing what the vote count was early, what if it got out? I mean, that's the problem with starting the count early.
I have not heard that as the explanation for it,
I'm just
and it's
raising
only red states that have done this. So you can think whatever you want to think about that.
So what do you think other than the election, because the elections, that's sort of what you hear about Wall Street. Elections don't really matter anyway. So if it is gridlock, which we don't know, but more likely, I think the odds are on that too. So you're still bullish.
Yeah, I'm bullish only in the sense that election uncertainty has caused people to de-risk and cash to sit on the sidelines, but the fundamentals have been good. Earnings season's been very good. The Fed is dovish, and I don't think it's going to matter who ends up in the White House. Even if it's split Congress or a sweep, I think markets do pretty well either way. So it sets up for a really good rally into year end. But when it starts in November is just what we don't know.
No.
And it doesn't matter. We don't have to know. If you are an investor, you are simply making the trades like I explained this morning. 19 trades, 19 wins. If you've not yet seen that video, by the way, I've just put out a video where I explained the trades that I did while I was away, focusing on never losing, not winning, but focusing on never losing. I've just put out this video. I'll share it with you here. 19 trades, 19 wins. I ended up with about 4 or 5 shares of the S&P completely for free by trading. It's a 29-minute video. It explains it all in detail, how I did it. Then I asked you to vote on a poll, should I continue live trading Do you like the idea of me going back to trading again? So go and check that video out. Go to the video section on the homepage of the channel. Go down to videos and you'll see there's a few. There's the 6x NVIDIA price, US election love. I paid a tribute to the United States. US election trade, how I'm trading it. Undervalue stocks, earnings for Virgin Galactic, earnings for Palantir. That's what we're talking about today. And the FOMC report on Wednesday. Let's go back to this final thoughts here. Let's see what they say about the year end. Here we go. Let's have a little listen in.
So when you look at we were talking about what Buffett's thinking with Apple or what he's thinking with bank. I mean, that
Buffett. You
take Apple and a leading financial, and that covers a pretty big range of the markets. And Andrew thinks he's building an ark. Could you really? That wouldn't work. There's too many species to bring on there with him.
I'm just saying he's building a cash ark.
Cash ark.
An ark out of cash or something. Or is that what he's doing? He may be doing something else. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I know part of it is he's anticipating capital gains taxes could change, so he's taking those gains now. And he's not necessarily having a big cost of money because he's earning 5%. But next year, the cost of money is going to drop, so he'll have some pressure to deploy it.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're talking about.
There's the election this week, but also a small matter.
Let's just leave that there. Let me just close that down. So what do you think about that? Do you agree with me that it doesn't make a difference now who wins the election, that we will get a rally? Anyway, there you go. That's my thoughts. I do believe that we will end up with a rally at the end of the year. I've got $200,000 now. $200,000 now invested. I'm very bullish. I'm not worried. We will cover the Palantir earnings tonight. If you're watching this video before the Palantir earnings, I'm making it during our Palantir warm up. We've got the US election live all day tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, we've got the FOMC report. We'll be covering that. Plus, we have Virgin Galactic earnings in the evening. Both of these were requested by members. If you are a member and you do a $5 minimum super chat, you can book your own earnings. Not only will I cover the earnings, but I'll make the promotional videos before and after to promote it, to get everyone to be aware of the stock. So if you want to get a video out about the stock, plus you want me to cover the earnings, you have to be a member, and it's a $5 super chat. And we can do 4 earnings a day, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, because we've got the extra channel, so we can double up as well. All right, there you go. That's what I think about the election and the Santa rally, which I believe is inevitable and imminent, in fact. So click above my head for all the links down below in the description. Over here, I shall put, what should I put over here? I shall put the NVIDIA... sorry, not the NVIDIA. We've got that coming up as well. We'll put the US election here. That's tomorrow. Down here, I shall put the FOMC report. And just down there, I shall put a tribute to Quincy Jones. I recorded this morning as Quincy Jones passed away this morning early before my show started. So I put out a special tribute to him on my music channel. Until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other.